In ancient Rome, there was a stick with a sponge on the end. It sat in a bucket of salt water in the public bathroom. You used it, rinsed it, and handed it to the next person. This was hygiene for one of the most advanced civilizations in human history, and it was not the worst option. In ancient Greece, they used broken pottery. In medieval Europe, rags and moss. In colonial America, corn cobs. For thousands of years, humans had no clean answer to the most basic biological problem on Earth. The standard explanation for why toilet paper eventually took over is that it was more comfortable. That answer is wrong. Toilet paper did not become universal because it felt better. It became universal because it solved an engineering problem that almost destroyed cities. This is what people actually used before toilet paper, and the hidden reason the modern roll exists at all. The Roman communal sponge was called a tersorium, a wooden stick with a sea sponge tied to the end. After use, it went back into a bucket of vinegar or salt water and was used by the next person. Thousands of public bathrooms across the Roman Empire used the same system, the same sponge, every visitor, for centuries. Meanwhile, in ancient China, something remarkable was already happening. Paper was invented in China around 100 BC. By the 6th century AD, Chinese records show paper being used for hygiene. By the 14th century, the Chinese imperial court was mass-producing over 700,000 sheets of toilet paper per year for the emperor's family alone. The rest of the world had no idea. In Europe, paper was too valuable to waste. It was used for books, for records, for currency. So Europeans kept using rags, leaves, and moss for another 1,300 years. The first commercially packaged toilet paper in the Western world did not appear until 1857. An American named Joseph Gayeti introduced it, medicated paper for the water closet, sold in flat sheets infused with aloe. He printed his own name on every single sheet. It failed because Americans were already using something else: newspapers, magazines, and specifically the Sears Roebuck catalog. The catalog was so widely used as bathroom material that the company added a hole punched in the corner, specifically so it could be hung on a nail in the outhouse. For decades, the catalog was unofficially America's most popular toilet paper. Then, in 1890, the Scott Paper Company introduced toilet paper on a roll, perforated, convenient, standardized. But it had a problem: splinters. Early paper manufacturing was so rough that toilet paper contained literal wood splinters. It took until the 1930s for companies to advertise their paper as splinter-free. And then everything changed. In the early 20th century, indoor plumbing spread across the developed world. Houses connected to municipal sewer systems. This is the named concept, the dissolvable standard. Modern plumbing required a material that would break down in water. Rags clogged pipes, newspapers jammed sewers, corn cobs destroyed treatment plants. The Sears Roebuck catalog absolutely did not dissolve. The only material that could safely enter a flush toilet was paper soft enough to disintegrate and thin enough to not block flow. The moment American cities adopted modern plumbing, toilet paper went from a niche product to a legal and engineering requirement of urban life. A roll of paper in your bathroom is not a convenience. It is the only material legally compatible with the most important infrastructure your city operates. And this connects to something more recent. In March 2020, within days of the first global lockdown, toilet paper disappeared from store shelves across countries that had nothing to do with each other: North America, Europe, Asia, Australia. Not food, not medicine, toilet paper. When all the invisible systems behind modern life feel stable, you do not think about them. When they feel fragile, your brain reaches for the most basic biological need it can secure. That reach is what emptied the shelves. The roll of paper in your bathroom is the visible end of an invisible system that took 2,000 years to build. The Roman sponge, the Chinese imperial sheets, the Sears Roebuck catalog, the Scott roll, the dissolvable standard. Every layer exists because the basic human problem never changed, only the system that solved it kept improving. until one bad week in 2020 reminded an entire planet that the system is not as solid as it looks. Which era would you least want to live in? Roman sponge, medieval rags, or colonial corn cobs? Drop it below.